Hi, everybody. I'm so glad that you're taking some time to listen in and watch this video. I'm really excited to speak about the topic of water with you. For many of you who are my clients and have worked with me for years, you know I've often, even in your nutritional programs, have talked about the importance of drinking alkaline water and how much water we need to be drinking to really flush our body, alkalinize the body, detox, and just nourish all of our cells. But today we're going to talk about some very specific water, and I'm joined by a very special guest, Greg Webb, who turned me on to this exciting water called Kangen water. And I was actually introduced to Greg through a very old colleague of mine, Stephen Harvey, who I used to work together with. And Steve and I were meeting and catching up, and he shared the importance of this water with me, and it very much intrigued me. And I went to meet Greg, and ever since then, I have switched my water and am now on the joyride of drinking Kangen. And so I'm super excited to introduce you to Greg. Greg, how about you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into Kangen?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Where to start? It's, it's kind of funny, Amy, because you said you became kind of a Kangen water fan. It's one of those things that inadvertently happens. A friend of yours will tell you about it, and you'll go through a variety of mental exercises around it. And then as soon as you start drinking it, that's when the relationship changes. And you soon realize that, gosh, this water that I have habitually been drinking just simply because that's what I've been using for drinking water, it kind of pales in comparison. And the Kangen water is delightfully easy to drink. It sits light in the palate. It's super tasty. It sits light in the belly. And how I first encountered it, myself and some colleagues in the health industry were we were working some nutritional programs looking basically to detoxify the body and balance the pH and optimize the nutrient intakes. And there's an endless list of wonderful companies out there providing wonderful products that do all that. And this would have been August of 2006. And my friend phoned me up and says, Greg, you got to have a look at this water machine. It's a great detoxifier, and it's a great alkalizer, and it hydrates like crazy, and it's got antioxidant properties. And you wouldn't believe this colonoscopy video. So we've all heard of colonoscopies, and I went, oh, great, I get to watch a colonoscopy video. But what happened was a fellow by the name of Dr. Hironi Shinya, he's one of the original developers of colonoscopy procedures. He's been on the medical advisory board for Enagic, for the longest time. Recently retired is at the age of 80 something, I think. But he's one of the world's leading experts on internal gastrointestinal health, has a 0% cancer return rate in his patients, has looked inside of hundreds of thousands of people's tummies. And what I saw in that short little video was 90-day before and after photographs, where the before in a variety of ages and health conditions looked not that great. But the 90 days after Kangen water, the inside of the intestinal tract was pink and healthy and clear. And it's not really that big a secret that health either launches or declines out of the intestinal tract itself. And right there and then I decided that I don't care what this thing is worth. If it can do that, it's worth its weight in gold. So sight unseen, I'd never seen a machine, I'd never drank the water. The only thing I'd ever heard was just a few things about it and watched this colonoscopy video. I ordered a machine. I thought it was a little bit crazy because of the price tag, but I recognized its value. And once you recognize the value in something and what it does for you, oftentimes the price disappears. So that was the case for me.
Yeah, especially when we're talking about health, right?
Especially when we're talking about health. I mean,
yeah.
if you're in some kind of a chronic life-threatening condition and somebody says, well, it could be really easy to prevent that from happening if you had just done this little bit of prevention a while ago, or if you were in that condition and you need to repair it, if you get a really powerful leverage tool working for you. And I think what the machine has taught me is a very healthy respect for the fact that we're 75% water. I need a power cord for a computer. My battery is running low. I'll get my trusty assistant to go fetch the power cord. Meantime, we'll
Well,
keep talking.
it's interesting that you said, we're 75% water and we need to drink, anywhere from 1.5 liters to 3 liters of water a day, depending on how much you weigh and what your health goals are. But the fact is that most of us aren't even thinking about the quality of our water. And I think that's what you and I really resonate with most about this water is just the quality that we are putting in every day. The water we drink, just like the food we're eating, it absolutely matters, but we don't talk about the importance of the kind of water and the quality of water we're drinking. And so many people are drinking tap water, reverse osmosis water, bubbly waters, bottled waters, that we're getting all over the place. And we have no concept of how that's even impacting our health, if it is, and if we're actually even hydrating when we're drinking that water. So do you want to speak to that just a little bit, Greg, in regards to the quality of Kangen and specifically just breaking down some of those key things that you talked about, like detoxification, mineralization, hydration, and then even the alkalinity of the water?
Absolutely, Amy. And kind of like I mentioned, the properties of water, that's the unknown. It's the absolute unknown because there's the assumption, even amongst the extremely well-educated medical professions, that water is just, well, water, just water. It's H2O. That's all it is, right? It's not that at all in any way, shape, or form. And what Kangen water has really taught me is that there's differences in, I guess the primary differences is when it comes to filtration, either you have a filter or you are the filter. So if you're just drinking tap water, your body's the filter. So it's really good to have some kind of a filter in place. In the Enagic machines, they use a double carbon antibacterial filter. So it takes out 99.9% of what you don't want in the water, but most importantly, leaves the minerals in place. The minerals are so important for health. And anytime that you're drinking demineralized water, such as most bottled waters, and or reverse osmosis or distilled water, the fact that water is demineralized, water doesn't like being empty. It now goes after the host's body and it leaches the minerals out of the host body's joints and muscles and soft tissues. And in my clinic practice, I see that people that are on demineralized water, reverse osmosis, it's as convenient and lovely as it is to have that cute little spigot on your kitchen sink and everything hidden out of sight. It's gradually and certainly eroding away at your body because it's sucking the minerals right out of you.
Yeah, and I think the key point on the minerals is to remember that minerals create alkalinity in the body, and the body stays well and prevents disease in a very alkaline environment. And when we're drinking acidic water and eating acidic food and exposed to so many acidic toxins within our environment, it's the minerals that are so important to help switch that alkalinity and acidity within the body. I remember just reading something that you shared with me, Greg, when I'm sort of educating myself on the product here, but the absorbability and the bioavailability is key with minerals. So your body only assimilates minerals in their ionic form, and that's what Kangen water provides. It's this ionic minerals. And when we don't have those minerals and when we're acidic, the water, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if this is our cell, without the minerals, the water just hangs out extracellularly, but the ionic minerals allows the water to enter into the cell, to penetrate into the cell. So that's where the hydration really actually happens, so that then the cells can feed the tissue, the blood, the organ, the hormones, the systems, right?
There's a bunch of stories that launch out of that paragraph. Let's start with the mineralization first. So again, like you're doing your reading and learning all about it. When one of the early documents that I bumped across had to do with the history of ionized alkaline water. So the Kangen water is made by the process of first filtration, second ionization, which means introducing to electricity. Right. So they started off. It's an invention that was first discovered in the early 1900s in Russia. Fast forward to the 1950s in Japan, they started playing around with the concept in the agricultural industry. And one of the ways that they were playing around with it was in dairy herds. And they noticed that with dairy herds, the milk production went up and the cows didn't have as much problem with bone density issues. Now, milk is supposed to be a good source of calcium, right? Well, where does the calcium come from? Cow bones. So the more milk a cow produces over its life, the more weakened its bones become. But they found in dairy herds that the cow's skeletal structure remained strong. The milk production went up, which means the body's working better. And as well, the intestinal health of the cattle improved. And then fast forward to 1963, the Japanese Ministry of Health, basically Japan's version of Health Canada, proclaimed that the ionized alkaline water can be a benefit to any and all intestinal conditions. Okay, so it's and then let's go back to, so that's the intestinal. Let's go back to minerals. So on the cell wall, there's little things called an ion channel. An ion channel is a specific little protein membrane that it's a transport channel for a charged mineral, so polarity charged mineral. When Kangen water, in the process of making Kangen water, how it creates the pH is by electricity, and that means that the minerals in your alkaline drinking water are now carrying little magnets. And those little magnets have the automatic open key for the mineral tube that allows for mineralization and mineral transport into your body tissues. So it's a spectacular anti-osteoporosis device. It's a spectacular keep your body alkaline device. And as well, how our body goes about making various digestive pHs, whether they be acid or alkaline in the various organs, is from the air we breathe, the oxygen, the carbon dioxide, that's a pH balancing mechanism. The water we drink, the hydrogen and the oxygen, those go into the pH as well, and the minerals. So the more access to minerals you have and the better quality hydration you have, the more it strengthens digestive function over time. But as well, Kangen water does a wonderful job, since it's such a good penetrator of cells, of engaging in any metabolic toxicity and drawing it out. So it's like it's this wonderful nonstop head to toe, fingernails to toenails cleanse program going on every time you drink water.
Yeah, which is so important to stay. I teach this to my clients a lot, is just to stay on top of the detoxification, because we can't control all of the toxicity that's going on in our environment and our food. But if we're staying on top of it and constantly flushing and detoxing and adding in the minerals and the antioxidants, then we're really doing ourselves such a service to be preventative and to optimize our health, which is so exciting, because we can control that. Right? It's so easy to turn on the Kangen water machine. In fact, Greg, why don't you show us the machine just to give us a little demo of what that looks like? But so easy to have this attached to our sinks, and just with a flip of turning on your faucet, you've got your super alkaline, highly energized, highly absorbable, magical water. So tell us a little bit about this, Greg.
Sure. The machine, it's so easy to use that I actually fly with this in an overhead flight bag and hook it up in hotel washrooms in about a minute and a half. It hooks up to a standard faucet, super easy. The type of faucet that's really popular now, the pull out and spray them around, it doesn't hook up very well to that. And a lot of people just put in a side faucet or hook it up in their laundry room, their bathroom, somewhere. But the best place to have it, beside your kitchen sink, you get the most use out of it, just simply because there's so many things that you can do lovely with this machine for everything beverage and meal prep wise. So there's just on clean water, that means just filtered, and the filter is there. It lasts for 1,500 gallons. It takes about 15 seconds to change a filter, and so that's where the filter sits.
Actually, Greg, let's talk about that for a quick second, because filtering water, a lot of people feel like if they're drinking Brita water, for example, I have a lot of clients that tell me they're just drinking Brita, and that's filtering some things, but it's not filtering everything. So can you tell me exactly what the Kangen machine is filtering out?
I've got a long document on all those, but it's basically it's a double carbon antibacterial filter. So it will get rid of your good chunk of your chemicals, lead, most of your pollutants. It does. The only thing that'll take out prescription meds is reverse osmosis or other things. There's well, I shouldn't really say that. A couple of the types of filtration, but they're bigger units. But this will take care of, so far as your filtration needs, 99.9% of what you need to filter. And if there's something else that a double carbon filter will not remove, Enagic has a variety of pre-filters for wild and wacky excess minerals, or if you've got fluoride in your water, or if you've got a variety of things. They've got pre-filters for that. So that's
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, chlorine does not get filtered out of the Brita filter, but I believe it does through this filter, correct?
absolutely. Chlorine gets taken out, and I couldn't tell you about the Brita filter.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah.
All right. Sorry to interrupt, but I just thought the
That's all right.
filtration is huge, right? Because we want
It is.
purified water. And so we want to know everything that's coming out of the source, out of the tap water that we are getting. So go ahead then, Greg.
So then the important part is the minerals are left in place, and that's really important. And you can't, if you get too fine in your micron filtration, you will lose mineral content. And the minerals are required for the ionization process, but as well, the minerals are required for your body's health. And
the alkalinity, yeah.
And especially because, like you're saying, Amy, the minerals are key to the alkalinity, and especially when you got charged minerals that have the get in free anytime pass for your body, they're not bouncing around off the outside of your cells hoping they can get in. That's like as soon as they get anywhere near, it's like in they go, right?
It's the biggest thing. That's one of the biggest things I'm so excited about this water is just the mineralization and the pH, because I just want our listeners to really realize that disease grows in an acidic environment. So to be able to prevent a lot of chronic disease by having an alkaline environment, and the number one way we can do that is through changing our water. Like, it's so exciting. That's why I got onto this water. One of the main reasons I got onto the water. I'll tell you the second main reason at the end, but the main reason was that. So yeah, sorry, Greg, I'm so excited, but I just wanted to really get that point home between like the mineralization and the alkalinity of the water. It's essential because most people are drinking acidic water. Most people are drinking.
On that topic, I mean, as we deepen in our understanding of how this machine helps our body's pH balance, pH is not only an acid alkaline scale, it's also an electrical scale. It's a polarity scale. And if your pH balanced, you're polarity neutral. If your pH a little bit alkaline, now you've got some spare voltage, you've got some spare electrons, and spare electrons equals longevity. Spare electrons on cell membranes equals happy, healthy, robust biochemical interactions. Every single little biochemical interaction, and there's 8.6 trillion every 5 seconds. Wow. 8.6 trillion every 5 seconds biochemical interactions. And the more spare electrons you have, the easier all those biochemical interactions take place and the happier your cell membranes are, right? Mm-hmm. So pH is created in your body by minerals, but in this machine, the pH is created by voltage. Mm-hmm. So you're getting the added benefit of all the minerals in your source drinking water getting better absorption, but a lot of the jaw-dropping pH shifting in people's bodies that I see clinic-wise happens because there's voltage created pH versus just mineral created pH. Because you can add baking soda till the cows come home to water and drink that, and you'll shift your alkalinity. It's called the baking soda cure, right? But this is voltage as well as the complementary broad spectrum minerals, not just one. And in regards with just one minerals, there's a lot of bottled waters like Vortec 9.5, and there's a whole bunch of them that are pH boosted alkaline waters. So what those water bottling companies do is they reverse osmosis filter the water so they get any and all contaminants out, and then they add back in 1 or 2 or 3 minerals to give it enough mineral content to boost the pH. The hazard with that is that all minerals act like a teeter-totter with each other, with other minerals and other vitamins. And if you're always stacking in just 1 or 2 or 3 with your drinking water all the time, you're creating a tremendous imbalance in the other minerals that mineral interacts with, and the vitamins and the other biochemical interactions. So yes, you're purchasing and you're drinking a pH buffered water with 1 or 2, 3 minerals in it, but you're eventually down the road probably creating some long-term metabolic imbalances because you're just stacking too many of one type of mineral in.
Yeah, you're missing the synergy. Yeah. The symmetry there. Okay.
So then if I press buttons, let's see what happens when I press buttons. Like, go into the drinking water setting. The purple ones are the drinking water setting, and it starts off with
Kangen water 8.5.
So at 8.5 pH, that's gentle correction, gentle detox. You want to start there. And after a week or 2 or 3, you can move up to
Kangen water 9.0.
At 9.0, you've got more correction, more detox.
Kangen water 9.5.
And at 9.5, you got most correction, most detox. And when I first got this machine 14 years ago, I just heard that 9.5 had the most corrective ability, so I jumped in at 9.5. I was fine. That being said, I just had one of the, like a variety of families that I feed out of this. It's quite lovely because one unit can literally speaking feed a community. It's quite a gift. It really, truly is. So a gal who's been coming over to my place for a while to pick up water, been giving her 9.5 because she's gradually worked up to that. Well, she also grabbed a jug of 9.5 that I gave to her and gave it to her girlfriend to take home who hadn't drank 9.5 water before. And her girlfriend immediately went into a detox reaction and felt quite ill for a few days because it's a great way of having your body celebrate trash day. Your body very readily and eagerly goes, oh my God, this is such a better quality of water than what I have on the inside of my water balloons. Let me ditch the old water balloon water and replace it with this new wonderful stuff, right? And it will detoxify the body at 9.5 faster than what perhaps some people's bodies can process that toxicity.
Ready for.
So it's good to start at 8.5.
Yeah. And I'll just share my own personal experience, right? And we were talking about this before the call, but I've had my machine since beginning of September. And so I feel like I'm going through very gentle detoxification and mostly just, I think some digestive shifting. And now I've just been staying at 8.5, but I'm wondering if now maybe I just like jack it up a little bit just to really flush things out, or just keep it sort of a low grade. I feel good, but I definitely know that there's some shifting happening and some detoxification, which is exciting, right? Because you just don't know how much toxin you're holding on to. Yeah.
And as that topic comes up with clients, oftentimes I'll explain, well, there's one of two philosophies on your speed of detoxification. You can take it really nice and gentle and easy, or if you wish to, you can speed up the process, just lace up your boots and jump right in.
Jump on in.
Might not be fun, but
so where do you want to play in the game of life, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. So that purple button. So if you have this machine, I have a different machines, but in that one purple button, you're getting 3 different levels of the Kangen water, the 8.5, the 9, and 9.5.
Yeah. And then an important little feature about the green button. So it says clean water that equals just filtered. And one of the things that is an absolute with all of the purple button waters, the 8.5, 9.0, and 9.5, they increase how much value you get out of everything you put in your mouth. All your foods, all your supplements, they increase the value. However, lots of people are on prescription medications. You might not want to increase how much that prescription medicine goes to work right away. So give yourself about a half-hour window and take the prescription medication with the filtered water. And that way the prescription medication will arrive in the body at the pace it's calibrated, chemically speaking, to do so. Give yourself another 15, 20 minutes after you've taken your medication, go back to drinking Kangen water. And one of the absolute almost cardinal certainties is that I believe that every single prescription medication increases your acidity, and the more acidity you have, the greater likelihood you have for needing prescription medication. So you figure out that math, right?
Yeah, I read that too.
Yeah,
I mean, all medications are acidic. All medications are acidic, or pharmaceuticals are acidic, and yeah, it just contributes to further acidifying your system.
So on that topic,
what I like, yeah.
This is a recent major success story. There's a family that I've been working with from Medicine Hat. Their daughter now going into grade 11. She had a grand mal epileptic seizure in grade 8. And for about a year and a half or so was just doing the trip back and forth to Children's Hospital. Here's a drug, see you in 3 months. Here's a drug, see you in 3 months. And the girl's quality of life was just going downhill. And what was showing up when I worked on her was, and it's not unique to her, it's broad spectrum unique to anybody who's on a medication which works with the brain neurochemistry. That entire family of drugs are exceedingly toxic to the brain. They are very acidifying and they are very toxifying to the brain. And you can't have healthy function, homeostasis, acidity and toxicity and inflammation all in the same sentence. They don't go together, right? So yeah, they've been shifting their water. I've been doing a bunch of clinic work, but her epilepsy symptoms are basically under control, and the medication is neutralized in how much damage it's doing by this. So
That's incredible. Yeah.
it's lovely. It's really nice to be able to help. It's like it's nice to be able to help.
Yeah, with something that's so essential, and that's something we use every single day, and it's just really about changing the quality of it, right? And that's so key. I wanted to just mention, because you're on clean water, which is pH 7, and you said it really just helps get the nutrient absorption of everything that you're taking in. So if you're eating a really clean, whole food, nutritional lifestyle, the water, whether it be at the clean water and up, it is helping to transport all of those nutrients from your diet into the cells. I think
Not
I
so
heard
much
you
the
sort of
clean
mentioning
water,
that.
just your alkaline waters, your
Your
ionized
alkaline
alkaline.
water.
That's what increases
Okay.
your nutrient
Absorption.
absorption.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, show
There's a
us the
great
other
little
colors. Oh, sorry.
this
Yep.
one. There's a great little
Yeah.
story that I tell. I call it a cutting board demo of life that shows how your nutrient absorption goes up with that. You're no longer getting robbed at the grocery store by your water selection. Okay, so the other buttons, this one here, the little yellow one. Now we've got a mildly acidic water.
Beauty water.
It says beauty water. So beauty water is the ideal pH. It's about pH 5.5 to 6, and it's the ideal pH to put on the skin as a toner. It's kind of funny because one of the things that I can see in a person when they start drinking Kangen water, the quality and the robust glow of their facial skin changes within weeks.
Yeah, I have to say, like, okay, Greg, and to all of our listeners, I have to tell you, you may not be able to tell on computer screen, but Greg's skin is unbelievable. It's porcelain skin, and it actually was the number one thing I noticed when I first met Greg, when I walked into his home. And I was like, if I can have skin like that, and I thought I had pretty good skin, but I would have to say that's probably the number one thing that I'm noticing most is a change in the glow of my skin. And every morning, my son Solly and Solly's only 7, and he loves the water, and he came every time I got a demo from Greg and got our water filled up. But Solly, we use our little spritz bottle that we got, and we put in the beauty water, and every morning I'll just do a demo, but we literally just spray on the face, and it's refreshing, but it acts like a toner. And I'm telling you, although I'm drinking the water internally, but putting it on the skin is also making a difference. It's really wonderful. Who doesn't want to glow, right, Greg?
Absolutely. The beauty water, I'm totally hooked on it. Like after I get out of the shower, if my beauty water container is empty, I do this like little sulk, and I'll go to the water machine and get a refill and come back and spray my face, and my face is all happy again.
Yeah.
It's lovely. And how it works is it's because it's a microclustered water. It doesn't talk much about the microclustering. It's basically small particle water, and it's pH ideal. It gets absorbed way faster than it evaporates off. And here's a bit of a testimony to that one. A friend of mine who's got a magic water machine. Him and his wife have been vegetarians for years. He was barbecuing for years, or barbecuing at dinner. I said, barbecuing? How can you barbecue? Beans fall through the grill. He's teasing him, right? He's barbecuing a potato, and the potato bounced off. He went to catch it, but instead he landed the palm of his hand on the hot barbecue grill, right? Of course, it burned. So he immediately went to his water machine and ran it underneath the beauty water. And then that night, when him and his wife were sitting watching a movie, he just made a little bowl of water, beauty water, and had his hand soaking in there. And it takes the pain, it almost instantaneously takes the burn away. And if you ever get a burn on something, the beauty water almost instantaneously takes the burn away, right? The pain. I'd love to see one of these in every single burn unit in every hospital across the land. I really would. So anyways, as we're sitting watching the movie, my buddy pulls his hand out and he's looking at the palm of his hand and he's going, oh yeah, it's not blistering. It's looking pretty good. And then he looks closer and there's water on the palm of his hand where it wasn't burnt, but where it had burned, that water had already soaked in and it had gone and sucked it right in. He went, did I just see that? So he did it a couple, 3 times, and sure enough, where the burned scar was, the water was just being absorbed in and going in and correcting and healing. And the next day there was barely a sign of it.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. And actually, Greg, it kind of sparks something too that I keep reading in the materials that you've been sending and sharing with me, but how the beauty water, the acidic water, really helps with eczema. Do you have any client stories that you've worked with eczema? Because they're saying the same thing, how it helps to correct some of those skin conditions.
This falls underneath the friend of a friend story, but yes, more than one. And eczema psoriasis, because eczema psoriasis on the skin, in traditional Chinese medicine, skin is a reflection of lung and large intestine. Lung and large intestine, being of the metal element, are affected by the climate of dryness. So
Yeah.
as you improve your internal hydration, the climate of dryness for the lung, large intestine are no longer as much of an imbalance issue. So drinking the Kangen water corrects the internal imbalance, and then the beauty water applied to the skin helps to heal and soften and correct. And I've heard probably a good sized handful of friend of a friend stories. I don't have anybody personally I've known that's had that. And the other L that goes along with liver and lung, or probably lung and large intestine, is liver. And liver and skin go together as well, right?
Sure.
And this machine is a spectacular, wonderful detoxification unit. Our liver works so hard for us. Goodness only knows how many hundreds of biochemical functions it does. But all those biochemical functions happen in water. So when you have a high quality water that's capable of delivering your nutrients and all of your chemistry across that cell membrane to the inside of the water balloons where all the work's taking place, when the water does the delivery of the construction materials, and as well very efficient extraction of the metabolic waste products, the liver is happier. So you get the liver happy, the lung happy, the large intestine happy, and the skin will be happy. And it's nice to have nice skin on the outside. It's more important to have happy skin on the inside.
Absolutely. Well, listen, and it's our skin on the outside is truly just a reflection of what's going on in the inside, right? So
Yeah.
that's great. Well, is there any other buttons on there that you didn't show us
Sure.
there, Greg? Mm-hmm.
So on most of the models, there's another button down here. So the starter model has everything from beauty water on up, and all the
And
other
that's the
models.
model I have. That's
Right.
the one that I have. Yeah.
And it's get in where you fit in, right? Like the
Yeah.
drinking water, they're all great. They work wonderfully. And probably the biggest difference between the models is this little bottom button here, which says
Strong acidic water.
strong acidic water. So now what you have happening is you have two very strong ends of the pH spectrum being produced. You now have 2.5 strong acidic and 11.5 fruit and veggie wash. So an important thing about a water ionizer, it's got one hose in, two hoses out. So you got your top primary 70% of your volume, and your bottom, I got a little paper towel over the end of the hose so I don't drip water on my floor. A little secondary hose, you got 30% of your volume out of here. So the machine is always splitting the pH. And what we do around our house is whatever's coming out of the bottom hose, we collect that, and 4 seasons of the year, it goes to some plant. So whether it be an indoor and outdoor plant, but 4 seasons of the year it goes to plants, and the plants absolutely adore it. So this bottom button, strong acidic, that is.
Sorry to interrupt, Greg, but I just have to say, you know, my plants have definitely been flowering more, and they're just looking really green and luscious. And even I had some friends for dinner last week, and they're like, "Your plants look so good," and they're getting this great water as well. The acidic
awesome.
water that, yeah, that we're not drinking, but the plants are receiving. Yeah.
So that's another memory peg. Do you remember? So the article that I was mentioning where they tried in the 1950s cattle dairy barns.
Yeah.
They're also trying the strong acid in greenhouses for mold and mildew and mites and bugs and whatever the case may be. And rather than having to put almost like hazmat suits on and spray the plants with chemicals, they could just simply use the strong acidic water as an antifungal, anti-mold, antibacterial, antiviral, anti-mites, whatever the case may be. And the reason it works is because it's a very acidic water, but as well, it has a very high oxidative level. And it's that very high oxidative that it penetrates the cells, and oxidation means to go in and break down and rust. So when you take an antioxidant, it's protecting you against breakdown and rust. The strong acidic works because of its pH, but as well because of its It's very lovely and potent oxidative nature to go to. It breaks down and attacks virus cells and disassembles them. It breaks down and attacks bacterial cells and disassembles them. Likewise across the spectrum with mold and fungus, that type of thing, right? It does it by
Yeah.
breaking down and attacking that, but it's safe enough to put on your skin and you can gargle with it.
And probably clean your home with it too, right? So areas that you have mold, maybe in your shower, or just mold around the home. And this is such an important topic because I know, especially in the world of functional medicine right now, mold illness is such a big topic. And so to be able to have something within your home to help, first of all, to help internally break down any fungus and molds within the body, but then externally within your home to be able to kill those off without using harsh chemicals that are a detriment to our health. I mean, that's huge. That's a really, really big thing. So yeah, to any listeners who are dealing with chronic mold illness, or know that there's fungal issues internally, and even I think I was reading, like what you said too, bacteria, things like E. coli. I heard that that this water, the super acidic, the strong acidic water can help to kill it. So if you, even if you're spraying it, right, I would imagine, Greg, if you put it in a spray bottle and cleaning off your countertops after you've used raw meat or on your cutting boards, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, so the official name for the strong acidic water is called a hypochlorous solution. Hypochlorous solution. And there's some quite famous internet health experts that are marketing hypochlorous solution sold in US dollars. And you can pay $8 US plus shipping for a 2-ounce bottle. You can pay $16 US for an 8-ounce bottle, or you can pay $32 US plus shipping for a 24-ounce bottle of hypochlorous solution. Or with one of these, you can produce as many gallons of it as you want. In
At any
the
time of
Orient,
day.
where most of the research is, most of this product's made in Japan. Most of the research on ionized alkaline water has been done in the Orient. Extensive medical PhD laboratory quality research, and a lot of it has been done around the strong acid button and its effectiveness as an antimicrobial. And one of the documents that I quite often share with people is a list of about a dozen or so pathogenic viruses and or bacteria, fungus, yeast, mold, and then the results of a variety of bleach or chemicals or strong acidic water or water of the same pH but created by adding chemicals. And in every single one of the lists of the pathogenic factors, it lists beside it with strong acidic water, no living organisms observed after 30 seconds of exposure, line after line after line after line. And you go over on the page and you see bleach, right, which is the standard. And there's 4 out of the 10 or so listed that it kills and a whole bunch that it doesn't. And we use bleach. And would you gargle with bleach? Would you put bleach on your skin? Would you use bleach as a burn treatment? Would you use bleach on your baby's bum? Okay, so speaking of babies, my daughter whose laptop I'm using, she was born in our living room in an inflatable Canadian Tire kiddie pool. And it was a lovely experience. Midwives, doulas, the whole 9 yards. It was great. And that little inflatable kiddie pool became her favorite blow it up in the summertime and go swimming with her friends in our backyard kiddie pool. Got years of use out of it, right? So there was one time it was left in the backyard, and we were going out of town for a couple of days, so I just put a tarp over top of it, right? Well, there were some leaves in the water that I hadn't cleaned out. We came back to town after a few days, and gosh, it was quite moldy and mildewy. Like there was a lot of mildew, and I still got the pictures on my computer of that, but there was a lot of mildew and mold embedded into the plastic of my daughter's birthing pool. So being the good proud papa that I am, I made a whole bunch of strong acidic water, and I just took a tiny little plastic dish scrubber, and all that mold came right off as if it had never been there with just using water.
Wow, that's so amazing. It's exciting, just the possibility, the endless possibilities and uses for the water. I wanted to ask you, because you touched on it, Greg, what about just the cleaning of the fruits and vegetables and getting rid of the pesticides and herbicides?
Sure.
That would be strong acidic water too, or a
The strong
different one?
alkaline water.
Strong
So
alkaline water.
just
Yeah.
back to the hypochlorous, that has also been our hand sanitizer of choice since this whole COVID insanity.
Right.
has taken over the media and the public and the world. But so when you press the strong acidic button, you're not only getting a medical grade sterilant that's skin friendly out of the bottom, you're also getting 11.5, which is alkaline enough to remove the herbicides and pesticides off your fruits and vegetables. It even removes the wax off of apples. And I've got a very large collection on my computer of a whole myriad of fruits and vegetables that the awe, the jaw-dropping awe and wonder of it 14 years later still absolutely delights me and fascinates me of how much is removed off of the produce that you're buying, even organic produce. Because I mean, last time I checked, organic produce is still growing on planet Earth, and not all the air and water is as clean as it used to be. So it's still getting pollutants on it, right? So it's important to wash your produce. But the alkaline water, when you press
Strong acidic
you
water.
press strong acidic water, you get this sterilant out of the bottom hose and the fruit and veggie wash 11.5 out of the top hose. And all we do is we just take a salad bowl, fill it full of the 11.5, let our apples, our grapes, our tomatoes, our lettuce, or whatever the case may be, whatever, our broccoli or cauliflower, let it soak in there for about 5 minutes or so, give it a swish back and forth, and then just let it towel dry. If there's ever any concern about bacterial contamination, you can do 2 bowls of water and do the first at 2.5 to kill any bacterial content or viral content, and then do the 11.5, the fruit and veggie wash, high alkaline pH, to then pull the any of the oil-based compounds and chemicals off of it. And that's essentially how it works, is it's alkaline enough to engage in the oil-based compounds and remove them. Speaking of how it engages with the oil-based stuff, when you're making soups and broths and such like that, out of like bone broth and such, like it's the fats that carry the flavor through, right?
Mm.
So if you add a little bit of 11.5 to your homemade soups, it carries the flavors. I
Nice.
had a lady a few years ago, she was coming over to get water. She lived in the neighborhood. She came over for a refill and says, Greg, I made soup. Nice. She says, no, I made soup. Oh, that's good. I'm glad for it. Says, no, I made soup. Well, what was so special about the soup? Well, I made my absolute husband's favorite signature soup. I made it with the Kangen water. And he's like, whoa, what is different about this? The flavor is just amazing. And
Wow.
that's one of the things about it, is that whatever you take and do with Kangen water, it just rounds out and fills out and expands your flavor notes, and you get more value from it.
Mm. Well, what about one of the things that I noticed when beginning to drink the water was just that it's just pure. Like it tastes clean, it's crisp, it's refreshing, like it's just, you actually feel like you're satisfied when you're drinking your water. So that's definitely something that I've noticed, just not so much just in the cooking, but just simply drinking water. Because so many people will tell me, I don't like the taste of water. It's probably because you're
Yeah,
drinking
like
chlorine
it's
water,
common.
and it's probably because your water smells like chlorine and whatever else is in there. But once you start drinking Kangen, it's just, you embrace drinking water. It's a joy. Um, the other thing I was wanting to mention, Greg, that I really was excited about with the water, and I can feel it. I can sense vibration with food, with essential oils. I can tell if something has a high vibration. And as soon as you gave me my first drink of Kangen out of your kitchen, I knew it was highly energetic. I could tell that there was a vibration in the water that I hadn't had in my water before. I was drinking alkaline water, but my water had sat in plastic bottles, right, in a bottle, sitting until we finished a whole jug. And so it just sits there. And one of the reasons I personally chose to change my water was because I wasn't comfortable with the idea of still water. I believe that water is meant to move. It's meant to have that electrifying movement to it. And so when you're sitting with bottled water that you get delivered to your home, and it sits for who knows how long in the warehouse, and who knows how long it's sitting in your home before you get to your fourth bottle, there's no like magnetism left in the water. That was my feeling and my sense. But with Kangen, because it's going through these titanium plates and it's electrifying, it's really getting energized and mineralized. I just love that. Like when I was reading, it was saying it's high bioenergy, and so a lot of people consider this ionized water, living water, vibrant water, energetic water. There's different names for it, but it's very much energetic and vibrant versus dead. And I'm all about nutrition and vitality and teaching my clients to put whatever they can in their body to really enhance vitality. And I'm telling you that the Kangen water is vital, magnetic, rich living water for sure. Yeah.
I would agree with that. More stories come to mind. So you mentioned about different types of water and how this, like, what do people comment they just don't like drinking water? And then we find different levels of satisfaction with water, and how this one is quite a satisfying water to drink. And I mentioned that I travel with this machine, right? So this is a funny story from a few years ago. I was out in Vancouver taking a couple weeks in the classroom with some colleagues, brought my water machine along, hooked it up in the classroom so I had water for myself and my classmates. And so then the class is finished. I'm heading to the airport. I've drank every drop of Kangen water that I have. I'm outrageously thirsty for myself and the instructor, who's a good pal of mine, going out for a few bubblies after the class was all done. Driving to the airport, I stop at the local health food store that's on the way between my Airbnb and the airport. And they had a 1.5 liter tall bottle in the cooler of Whistler water. And I went, yes, Whistler water. Yeah. Awesome, right? Because glacier water, Canadian glacier water, not from France, Canadian glacier water. And I'm 90 miles from where that thing got bottled, right? So I got back to my rental car, I cracked the cap, and I swear to God, the first third of the bottle disappeared in the first gulp. And the bottle probably wasn't more than about 4 inches away from my mouth when I said, oh my God, is that ever unsatisfying? And it was just like one of those knee-jerk automatic reactions of how the Kangen water is so delightful to the palate. And here I am drinking fresh out of the fridge Whistler water, glacier mountain Canadian water. It was
And it's
really
not doing it for
unsatisfying.
you. Just not doing it. It's not
No,
magic.
it's quite a
Yeah.
funny aha moment, actually. It was great.
Absolutely. Well, listen, I love what Kangen means. It means restore, returning to origin. And so I do really believe that the water is designed to restore our health and bring our body back to the state in which it was meant to be for wellness, right? Because the body knows how to be well as long as we're giving it the key things to be well. And I really think that Kangen does truly restore and return us to our origin. I also, just as we're sort of rounding out the conversation here, Greg, I was listening to a webinar a few weeks ago, and I'm so sorry, I can't remember the name of the yogi, but it was about a yogi and just talking about wellness. And he said the key to health is you treat your water with to treat water with reverence. And I just thought that was so beautifully put. And it's so true. We usually have zero connection to what we're drinking. But now when we're talking about Kangen and the importance of quality vibrational water, I think we begin to connect and really respect what our water can do for us. It's such a pivotal piece to our health.
It's the overlooked 75%. It absolutely is. And I find that even amongst, like I said before, the most educated health professionals, complementary or allopathic, they just consider water's water. I was in conversation with a very well-known chiropractor here in town not that long ago. I said, well, water's just water, isn't it? And here's a man, he's very well trained. He's got a large, successful clinic practice. He's been in practice for 20 years, getting great results with people. But he thinks that, well, water's just water, isn't it? Not at all in any way, shape, or form. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think probably for me, where I see big differences for people is in the nutrient absorption efficiency that they get with Kangen water. And I recorded a really cute little 10-minute video that we may have used today, or I might save it for another one. But it does a great little walkthrough on how Kangen water is this stunning leverage point to balance you out in this balance of your health is declining, your health is stable, or your health is improving, and how well you can handle the various stressors of life. But the nutrient absorption is one of the things that is so foundationally different when you get Kangen water working on your side compared to any other water, and that is because of the properties. And the properties, oh, our microclustering, it's a tiny water. I want to talk to that. Its polarity, its pH, and it's a great source of just nutrient absorption. But let me talk about the microclustering. So microclustering means a smaller size of molecule of water, and this has been confirmed by nuclear magnetic resonance. So it's not just me making up stuff off the top of my head. But to get your head wrapped around the analogy, let's say you're going to go out to the park with a bucket full of several buckets full of balls, and there's a backstop of a baseball diamond there, and your objective is to throw the balls through the fence. Well, on the other side of the fence, that's basically that fence. The backstop of the baseball diamond effectively represents your cell membrane, and your objective is to get the buckets of balls, the water molecules, through the cell membrane and into the body cell where they work. Remember, our bodies are filled with body cells. Every gram has 1 billion cells, 1 billion water balloons per gram. They're all filled with water. That's where all the work takes place. That's where all the nutrients have to go. Your water carries in your nutrients. Your water carries out your toxicity. The more efficient your water goes in and out, the better nutrient, the better detoxification, right? So you got several buckets of balls. And your first bucket is tennis balls. Well, you can throw tennis balls at a backstop for a long time and not that many are going to go through. And if you work really hard, you can push a bunch through. So tennis balls represents the type of beverage that's like coffee, tea, pop, juice, something that has water as a foundational component of it with something added to it. So liquids comprised of water are tennis balls. And you got to try and push those through, but it actually takes quite a bit of work to push them through because your body has to construct those tennis balls into the right molecular shape and polarity shape to get it across the cell membrane. The next bucket of balls is golf balls. So you can take your bucket of golf balls and you can throw handful after handful after handful at the backstop. Some are going to go through, some are going to bounce back. So golf balls are bottled water, tap water, standard filtered water. And you're going to get some through, and eventually if you spend enough time at it, you can push them all through, but that takes work energy too. So your body has to use work energy to convert the water that you're drinking, again, to the right molecular configuration, the right polarity to be pulled through. Even with mountain stream water, it's a slightly smaller, it's like ping pong balls, right? When you get to Kangen water, now here's where the part gets interesting. There's actually a polarity difference between the outside of your cell and the inside of your cell. And it's ever so slightly positively charged on the inside and ever so slightly positively charged on the tubes that go through. So the tube that goes through the cell membrane called an aquaporin, and it's a hexagonal little tube. Body's got a whole bunch of different varieties of them, but the basic gig is aquaporins love a hexagonal water. Kangen water is a hexagonal 6-sided water.
It's snowflake water, right? The
Snowflake
molecule is
water.
snowflake.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's beautiful snowflake water. So again, the objective is to get through, and the ever so slightly positively charged here, and the tubes are positively charged. All waters are positively charged except for ionized alkaline water and the world's most famous naturally occurring healing springs, of which is like 10 on the planet. You got Lourdes in France, Nordno in Germany, one north of Mexico City. There's like 10 of them around the planet where they got a negative charge to the water and alkaline minerals, right? So when you got Kangen water, now what you're dealing with is charged marbles, negatively charged marbles. So each one of those little hexagonal water molecules now in Kangen water, when you throw it at the backstop, is pulled magnetically through. It's got the right hexagonal shape for the aquaporins. It's got the right polarity. It's got a negative polarity. Remember, your aquaporin has a positive polarity. So the positive polarity of the aquaporin is a magnet to the negative polarity of the water, and it pulls it in across the cell membrane. And again, anytime that you're contributing electrons, negative polarity is electrons. Anytime you're contributing negative electrons, you reduce your inflammation, which is why Kangen water is so great on all the entire inflammatory intestinal conditions, inflammatory joint conditions, inflammatory neurological conditions. Inflammation anywhere matches up very well to Kangen water as a remedy because of the voltage in the spare electrons reducing the inflammation. But it's also that voltage that draws the water in with the hexagonal water. So the microclustering and the polarity is the secret behind why this water is so hydrating and so delightful and so vital to drink. One of my favorite things to do, if I need a buzz of mental energy, I'll go to my water machine, I'll hit the
Kangen water 9.5.
9.5 button, and I'll do a couple of big 8-ounce glasses back to back, and it, literally speaking, hydrates the brain within seconds, and you can feel this wonderful lift of mental clear energy that carries you through for a couple 3 hours, because the favorite fuels for the brain are water and carbohydrates. So, and the voltage is necessary for neural transmission.
Yeah, that crosses the blood-brain barrier. Well, and isn't that way more health promoting than going to grab the sugar, the caffeine, whatever else people are grabbing to give them the pick-me-up? If you can actually just grab this super alkaline, ionized, energetic, vibrant water that is doing immense benefit to our health, why not? So
And if you
listen,
make your
Greg.
coffee,
Sorry.
coffee with Kangen water, then you're drinking an alkaline coffee. That's an antioxidant alkaline coffee.
Yeah, and same thing. They talk about green tea and making it with the Kangen 9.5 water, and it's because green tea, it's acidic, and so making it with the super alkaline water, it helps to neutralize it in the body. So win-win all around. So listen, Greg, our time is almost up here. I don't want to get cut off, but let's just talk about, obviously we want to share the water with our clients, with our family, with our friends. How can people get this water and learn more?
Well, one of the things that I adore about having a machine is the ability to share with others. So this is an open invitation that if you're anywhere near driving distance to Southwest Calgary, which is where both Amy and I live, pretty close to Crowchild 33rd, 17th Avenue Southwest, feel free to get in touch with me and perhaps Amy. Just come for a water fill up.
Yep.
The proof is in the pudding. You drink this stuff and you'll never go back. It's quite delightful that
It's
way.
so true. You filled up my jug very generously, more than a few times, but the first few times that I had my jugs filled up, I knew it was just a matter of time for me to get the machine, but I knew within the first, half that jug being gone that I was sold. So, but yes, I mean, I have a water machine. It's a little bit different than Greg's. Mine's the entry level machine. Greg has the full, the full meal deal there, but either way, we're happy to share the water, have an experience with it, see if it makes a difference for your health. And then kangencalgary.com is also an awesome Greg's website where you can go and get more information. And Greg is a wealth of knowledge on this subject and more, but if you want more information, he certainly shared a lot of great materials with me. But Greg, how can people get a hold of you? Is it through kangencalgary.com? Is that the best way
Kangen
to?
Calgary is great. There's a contact me on there, and that's just it's a very educational website. It's laid out quite nice. It's going to offer you a free downloadable ebook and newsletter, and just go ahead and do that. The reason I say that, it does a lovely job of explaining some of the key properties and key benefits of it in a really nice, understandable language. And as well, there's a contact me on there. My cell phone number is, I'm free to give this out, 403-681-7647, 403-681-7647. I'm a text friendly guy. Say hi from whoever you are. I was listening to your recorded call with Amy and would love to get some water. So, but yeah, Greg Webb, kangencalgary.ca is a great place to go. .com is this website
To finish
to go
the
to.
call. Thank you, Greg. I just want to finish the call by sharing this quote. It was from one of the pieces of material that you sent me, but it was talking about the pH in the cells, and it says the pH of your tissues and bodily fluids affects the state of your health or inner cleanliness or filth. The closer the pH is to 7.35 to 7.45, the higher your level of health and well-being and your ability to resist states of disease and the onset of symptomatologies. That's what Kangen water does for us. And so that's how I'm going to end the call, Greg. But if there's anything else you want to say, this is your time.
I would say probably the thing that I find most common, there's this little syndrome where everybody wants to become their own internet expert. And so they'll go online and they'll Google search it. The first thing they're going to find is about 20 other Me Too companies that make basically the equivalent of a toaster oven and a tea kettle to run a commercial kitchen. So they've got a lower quality appliance with stunning, enviable quality marketing material. And what I've seen by myself as a clinician measuring the results in the body of clients who've gone online, become an internet expert, and bought another device rather than an enagic ionizer, which is a medical device, their results are fractional as being complementary. So you might think that you're being really smart and wise by doing your own research. I've done the research in the body for the last 14 years. Trust me, folks, there is not a better use of money. And I will tell anybody that aside from my wife's wedding ring, that's the smartest thing I've ever put money into in my life because of what it delivers, health. And that's, you can't get any better than that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Greg, for this time and for your sharing of knowledge. And my heart is full of gratitude for you and for Steve Harvey for introducing me to you. And our journey is just beginning together. Certainly excited to see how we can continue to optimize the health of the people that we work with. But I just so value your knowledge, and thank you again for being so willing to share the water with me and my family.
Oh, you're very
can't
welcome.
thank you enough. Yeah.
And one more conclusion.
Yeah.
It's sometimes really complicated to change an entire lifestyle that you become accustomed to. It's a really easy change of lifestyle to just simply drink a different kind of water.
Absolutely. It took no time to hook this up to our faucet and just get going with it. It was super simple. And so, yeah, it's the power of change, the power of water. And what is Kangen? What do they say? What's their tagline, Greg? We'll finish it off with this: change your water.
Change your water, change your life.
Change your life.
It may sound a little corny, but once you understand it, it's so true. Change your water, change your life. It just rings true in so many ways. It's quite cute, quite adorable.
Perfect. Well, thanks again.
Thanks,
okay,
we look forward to hearing from you.
KangenCalgary.com. We will look forward to hearing from you. If you have any questions, reach out to either Greg or I, and we will support you. Have a great day, everybody. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate with the right kind of water. Cheers, Greg.
Cheers, Amy. Thanks so much. That was fun.